always wine. But no, it completely hit me differently than liquor does.
Cool.
So
Cool. Yeah, totally. That's right.
definitely enjoyed it.
That's right.
And I wonder what type. It's a different feel, but I never could explain it to people. I was just telling them it's a different feel than liquor. Yeah.
And that's part of the magic, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Is that
Like
it's that sort of, it's like, I keep saying this, I don't mean to be lame. It's like it's a vibe thing, it's an energy thing. Yeah, I don't often drink wine by myself. But when I'm with other people, it's like it's open, like and it's like it's conversation, like the Venn diagram for wine and everything intersect, whether it's music or conversation or dinner or traveling or whatever it is. It's like they always have some stuff in common. My sister is a really good mathematician, right? Her husband's an engineer. Like it's like they're way. I travel with him though, right? He's from South Africa, and. I had the opportunity to go and I stayed there. His family's still there. I stayed there for like 3 weeks with them. His mother is a tour guide. They have a house or whatever. And, every day we would drink their wine, eat the food from the area. It was fantastic.
That's what's up.
But I already forgot why I was telling you that.
Well, it's okay because we've already started rolling the camera.
Oh, cool.
All
cool.
right.
All right.
So because I wanted to get what y'all was talking about before.
Okay.
But this is Jake, everyone, and thank you for watching another episode of Broadbell Speaks. And I'm gonna let you go ahead and do your little spiel. But we have already been recording.
Yeah, I didn't realize we had been recording.
I know, but it was some good stuff.
It was some good stuff. Because we didn't even do your countdown. You just stepped right in.
I didn't need it.
Everyone, as always, we're in Flux Creative Studios, and the engineer of the last 2 decades, internationally known, Kurt, is in the building, as always.
Yeah, he's in the building.
He's in the building.
This is his building.
Yeah. Mike might not be on, but that's okay. We're still working on putting the camera on him and keeping it. Is the mic on? He didn't turn it on. Did you turn it on?
I just got to turn the volume up.
Okay, then we good. So we're going to keep him engaged.
No, we don't have that camera. The next step is to get that camera so it can be on him.
We might just have to take it off and turn it on and don't say nothing.
Don't say nothing. Yeah, like he couldn't see it.
If you guys figure out how to use it, you can film me all you want.
Okay, I can figure out how to use it.
He said it like, sure.
I know. I'm like tempted to go up there and do it. Okay.
You're a woman.
Yeah, I get that all the time. Jake is like,
we've
had.
Don't take that. Don't take that.
She's usually the only
it's fine.
female.
I'm very secure in my womanhood.
There it is. Yeah, that's the key for me. Surround myself with smart women. That's been the key to success.
I agree.
Tell him what you say. Say it again, Jake.
Hey, listen. The more smart women in the room, better for me. For
yeah,
sure.
get those businesses started for you and everything.
That's right.
Yeah, we do. We support very well. We do.
All right. So do we want to bring? Okay.
Yeah. So everyone, we have the most infamous person in Greensboro.
Say it
the
again.
best wine bar in Greensboro.
In Greensboro. Yes.
Rihoya, the owner, Jake.
Here we go.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
So Jake, I'm so
excited to be here.
Yeah, and I'm happy to have you.
We're excited to get you here. So, yeah.
I love the way we met each other. But then I never even thought that you would be on the show. So it's just like a full circle, and I'm glad that you are here.
I'm absolutely flattered that you mentioned it and that you guys invited me to be here. I'm seriously, it's a great opportunity. And I remember you, Tiffany. You guys had come in with some of your creative group.
Yeah.
And you guys were meeting at Rioja, and I remember you had broken off with another member of your group, and you were sort of like, it was almost like you were mentoring this person. And I remember I didn't mean to eavesdrop on your conversation, but you didn't see me there. I was doing something to the table beside you, but I remember you telling this person that said, listen, here's the key. He said, I don't spend money. I circulate money. This is the key for me. Like, I support other businesses. I support other people in my community. And I remember that. And I went home and I told my wife, I said, man, I met this lady tonight, and she influenced me. And I remember this thing she was talking about. And the next time I saw you, immediately I told you, I came over and I told you, I said,
you came up.
I was like, hey,
because I said to him, you circulate
Don't
money.
say you spend money, because it puts you in a different mindset. You say circulate the money, it's going to come back to you, especially if you spend it in the community. I'm glad that you eavesdropped on that night. I didn't know I was saying anything that important. I was just
profound.
Wisdom. That's right.
I was just talking,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm gonna smack you. So we're gonna go down memory lane a little bit, and I would love to hear your journey on how you open up the wine bar.
Thanks for asking.
Yes. So you go ahead.
Say the name one more time.
Rioja. Rioja is a wine region in Spain.
Yes.
It's the wine that comes from that area, sort of like the Champagne region. It's also one of the coolest wine bars in Greensboro. There's two on my list anyway.
Yeah. We'll get into the second one.
But I remember you asking me the other day, what made you open a wine bar? And I told you, I said, that's not really how it happened. Yeah. For me, it was a little bit backward, I guess. But I was living here in Greensboro. I was going to college here. And my plan was to move back to the Charlotte area I was from.
Ah, okay.
This was sort of pre financial collapse of 2018. Mm-hmm. So I had considered, my major in college was economics. I considered working in finance. So maybe I dodged a bullet there, but I took a job, a summer job at this little wine bar. It had just opened, like just less than a year prior. And I was like the dishwasher. It was I didn't know anything about wine. I know shit except for how to drink it. That was it.
Okay.
And so
like the rest of us.
And so I would come in there and I would just hustle, And I was, planning to move, but I was like, okay, well, let me have my job, make, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I sort of enjoyed it. And then it was one of these things where I would just show up the next day. And it's like, all right, I'll be back tomorrow. And at some point I came out from the kitchen and started to interact and do something. I guess, it's just what's necessary in the restaurant business. You do whatever, so I just sort of started to do stuff, but I didn't really know anything. And I can remember there was this kid in the kitchen. His name was David. He was a percussionist at UNCG. And people would say, I would go to a table and I would say, Tiffany, what would you like to drink? And she would say, I'll have a glass of Sauternes. Mm-hmm. And I would say, yes, ma'am. And I'd run to the kitchen and I would ask David, I said, David, what is Sauternes? Yeah. And he would tell me, he'd point at the kitchen. He didn't, but he knew. And he would show me and I would get it and I'd come back. And, so over time, I continued, show up. And then finally I looked around. I was like, I think I'm in charge here. And I was. And so it was crazy. And so then, I continued to work and I didn't move. I had a chance to go to South Africa to learn about wine. And I went to Italy, to Spain, parts of California, Oregon. And every step along the way, I would kind of learn a little more and I would meet people and make connections. And this wasn't really my plan. Looking back, you can connect some of the dots, but I didn't really
in the moment.
I didn't really have a plan. So
just fell in your lap.
So we talk about smart women, and I meet my wife. My wife currently, she comes in, one evening with some friends, and and I, you don't mess around. Like if you're smart, you don't do that sort of business at work, And so, and I didn't, but this woman, man, this she said something smart. She was a beer person. She's from Asheville. So anyway, so we get together and stuff, and finally I get her to agree to have a drink with me, and so then we're dating and stuff, and I think that's sort of what encouraged me finally to start to think bigger and long term, and. The original owner of the bar, was the same guy. He was he was a bit older than I was. He was a different generation. So it's a young person's game, So he's kind of ready to transition, and now I'm
you're stepping
ready to take. It was a good thing for everybody, I think. And so that's the way it happened. The first thing, and now, Kurt and I were talking about the sommelier exam. I don't know if you guys have looked at any of this stuff. There's a couple Netflix documentaries that sort of outline the process. A sommelier is sort of the term for a wine professional or a wine steward. A sommelier is a French term. Yeah. So, or we could say somm. Yeah. And that's the name of the documentary, actually.
Yeah. And there's a movie too on Netflix.
Yeah.
I think with the guy that's doing it. Okay.
So that it's sort of a professional designate. It doesn't really. It's not necessary, really. You don't have to do that to know about wine or to be a pro. But if you do, then you're prepared. If you pass these exams, and they're intense, man.
Too,
it's intense. So there's 3 portions to the exam. There's a service portion where you kind of jump through hoops, and you guys have been to Rioja. I don't do that thing. I don't do the I make it comfortable and casual for people. I try to remove the barrier to entry, right?
Right.
And that's I think that's the trick.
Yeah.
I used to know this chef, and he would come in. He was a pain in the ass. He'd always be like, he's a good guy, but he's a buddy after a while. But he'd be like, the lights are too bright, the music's not loud enough. It's too loud. This that Yeah. And but he would encourage me to sort of. I think every bit along the way. Anybody that's watching that show, The Bear, right now on Netflix, if you look at it, it's a true story. I swear to God. But this chef I knew, man. Every single time I would because I cook the food at Rioja. Sometimes I'm back there doing everything, but I bring out a dish and what do you think? And every single time he would say the same thing. And it got to the point where I would write down a piece of paper and hand it to a different customer. Cecilia and David are my witnesses. If they, and then he'd eat the food and he'd look at me and say, "It needs acid," or, "Needs a pickle, needs mustard," and that's what I wrote on the paper. I knew that's what was coming, right? But he was right. Every time he was right. Anyway,
it was what the Rosetto, I think is what it was, and he told her you need some acid to it, some shit. But I'm sorry, go ahead. I was just thinking about it because I watched the show. Yeah.
So anyway, I don't do a lot of that stuff. I try to make it comfortable for people, and he pointed that out to me that I was good at that.
Yeah. Very comfortable. And I just want to say, I know when I went So For Everyone, it was my first time going in. Speaks brought myself and another associate artist in, and I remember we were there first before Speaks got there, and you came over. Very relaxed, cool, casual. How you doing? Been here before, first time.
Yeah.
Came back came back a second time and asked us if what we wanted. We were like, "Oh, not sure." And you just was like, "Okay, cool." And that was it. Like, you didn't pressure. It was no, some places you go to, they keep coming over and over. And you're like, "No, we're good." But there was no pressure that felt like, because I'm sitting down here, I have to let you know right now what I want.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it
it's
was
a
very
vibe
cool.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Hey, can I call you Speaks?
Yeah.
Hey, y'all are probably might be too young to have seen this, but y'all ever see a movie called Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze?
Yeah.
All right, so in that movie,
he snatches the throat.
yeah, man, that is savage. So
that's like what Patrick was on top. Yeah.
So in that movie, right, Patrick Swayze is going to come and straighten up this bar. It's this like kind of roughneck kind of place, and the owner, contracts this man to come in, and he calls a meeting with all the staff, if you remember, and he comes in, he says, "All right, y'all, here's what we're going to do." This is before he calls in Sam Elliott to start kicking everybody's ass. He's like, "All right, here's the plan. I want everybody to just be nice." That's what he said. He wants to be, he's like, "That's what," and I swear, it's the truth. I tell everyone that I interview that works on my team, I'm like, "Y'all, I don't care if you know anything about wine. Just be nice."
Yeah.
Right? That's where it starts. And I can't teach. It's hard. People are crazy, man. I can teach you about wine, but
Can't teach you to be nice.
Can't be.
Or just
don't be an asshole.
Being so what do they call it? Like a social butterfly, and not even to that extreme, but knowing how to interact with people.
Yeah.
So, and I like the fact, and I'll say this too for Jake. You don't. Even if we didn't have some commonalities, you know how to engage people. You know how to talk to people.
Right.
You know how to back away when it's time to back away. You know how to come in more and have more of a discussion. And that, to me,
man, I'm going to use this as a training video for my employees.
It's so important.
Thank you. So this is like, you guys are going to make me cry.
You feel the atmosphere. When you go to each
read the
table,
room, right? Read the room.
When you go to each table, you feel like where their energy level is, and you kind of adjust to them, and then that makes them feel comfortable. Because you was like very, I mean, I wanted you to be on the writing team. I'm like, oh gosh, Jake is just awesome. Like every time he comes to the table,
I was digging you guys, man. I was hoping, I was a little, creative, curious of what you guys were doing. Man.
But I think it's your persona, the way you approach things. I think that's why the vibe is the way it is. And
thank you.
From the music to
the lighting,
right? All of that. Like,
lighting is good.
So nice. And again, I don't even drink wine, and I thought we was gonna be in and out. I thought we were gonna do the work and leave, and next thing you know, we're there until it's about to close.
Yeah.
And I remember at the bar, I was talking to some of the other customers, and they were like, "You leaving already?" They was like, "We don't leave until he tells us to leave."
That's me. I'm like, he's cleaning up and stuff. I'm like, I'm about to leave Jake in a minute. Just give me one more second.
And they were funny. They were talking about when they first started coming to your place and the certain wines they like. They said, "Have you tried this? Have you tried?" And then we just started talking about everything. We started talking about where they were from, how they met. Like it was Yeah, it was a good time.
vibe, and it's never too crowded. I don't like a lot of
which I love
people,
that.
but
it's nice.
Yeah, it's a good vibe. Yeah.
Every once in a while, it gets a little hair on fire, but
I'm sure, especially as the word gets out and people are like, have you been here yet? And then
and it's cyclical. I think being in Greensboro, everyone in a restaurant industry will tell you people are traveling in both directions, to the mountains and to the coast. No one's coming here, so there's that sort of that ebb and flow. But I think coming into this season, hopefully, if we get people back and probably in school in person, work in person, I think that hopefully there's a big pop coming for us coming into this season, and everybody can recover strong, and all the small businesses can have a good season, good holiday season.
How did you survive COVID?
Yes, I wanted to ask you about that too.
So
that hurt a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, it was.
Take a pause.
Still,
I'm
still. Thank you. Yeah,
he's rubbing. Well, he started rubbing their
head.
See
what happened was.
It's still, it is the hardest thing I've probably ever done. Mentally, it sounds so cliche, but mentally, physically, emotionally.
Yeah, it was everything.
All the stuff, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's got their story, and it was everybody's story is, the more people you talk to, Mm-hmm. But for me, it was like, what do we do well? Why do people come here? Why do people like this? I'm not going to start selling barbecue out the back. I'm not going to, I'm not going to redefine. Like, I'm not going to come up with some gimmicks and start doing, playing bingo or something That's not what I do. That's not my hustle or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, I was really fortunate, from the previous business I mentioned, that I sort of, so there was a retail shop. It was originally sort of the family tree of Rioja. So it's called the Wine Warehouse, the Greensboro Wine Warehouse. Okay. So Rioja was kind of spawned from there. During the financial collapse of 2008, the shop kind of moved into Rioja. But what that did was kind of define a retail concept, meaning people can come in and buy wine, almost like a shop.
Right.
And so I've maintained that all these years. So we have almost like a wine library. Right. So what I did was, I got to, it's the smart women in my life. So my wife, Lauren, so she was able to kind of help me understand and learn. I learned so much during COVID. That was the thing. It's like, you got to learn. You got to learn some technology, like you did. You got to you got to
use that time to your advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to try to grow and try to elevate and refresh.
I like that.
Yeah. So I learned. I built an online store. We loaded our inventory.
So smart.
I was doing deliveries. I come to your house and pour it in your glass, if you want me to, but I didn't change the thing. It was still the connection. It was the wine. So then I did a Zoom thing, right? Everybody was doing a Zoom tasting, but the way I did it was kind of coming back to, bear with me, guys. So coming back to my story about the test that I took, right?
Okay.
I told you there was a service thing, right? And I passed that test, but I don't do some of that service stuff. But it's important to know the rules. Okay. So for instance, in a big room, if we're all waiting on a huge room full of people, I'm always going to move clockwise around the table. That's so I'm never going to back up into you. I'm always going to keep moving this way, right? Okay. And that's important. Little things like that. Yeah. Carrying the tray, doing some of the stuff, coming from the right side, left side. Some of that's not important, but sometimes you got to know the rules to break the rules.
Right.
And I break all the rules, but I understand how to do it in a smart way that's good for Rioja. So anyway, another component to that test was a written exam, essay thing. Wow. Tell me about soil types in this area. Tell me about a famous producer in that area. Tell me about the important wines that come from this part of the world, right? The third component was blind tasting, right? So you sit down at a table, 2 whites, 2 reds. As soon as your hand touches the first glass, you got 30 minutes to identify grape, region, condition of the fruit. Has this wine been aged in oak? Age of the wine. What is it? Grapes, right? And it's intense. It's basically a deductive reasoning exercise, and it's fascinating. So what I did was develop a tasting kind of based on my experience with that exam. So I passed the exam, thank goodness. And the story there, I'd love to tell you guys too, but I'm going to stay on task. So what I realized was this was kind of fun. Like everybody's doing trivia, right? It's well, that was wine trivia. But what I did was I created this tasting experience. So we're all on Zoom together, right? As a community, all our people. And that's one of the things that people like about, right? they wanted to see each other during. It's like, I can see all these regular customers. Some people even got to know each other on Zoom. We had 30, 40 people in there, right?
Oh, wow.
So you come to Rioja, and everybody's masked. I go to your trunk. I put 2 bottles in your trunk, wrapped in foil. One's labeled number 1, the other number 2. I send you an email with instructions. Say, chill wine number 1.
This is fun.
Be online. Here's the code at 7:00. Right? Everybody's on at 7:00, and I'd let it get dark. I'd wait like 5 minutes, right? And then I'd ding the bell, and I'm all right, everybody come to order, because I'd let them talk and stuff, right? And get them stoked up.
Yeah.
So then it's like, all right, everybody pour the first wine in your glass, and here's what we're going to do. Then there was the trivia component, right? So then simultaneously on their phones, right? I'd ask them, and it's all built into the thing. And again, my wife, so she works in education, so it's called Mentimeter. So she knew how to do this. It was like a polling the audience thing, right? And then the Zoom thing, she was already doing that. She works with international students in China. So she understood these 2 technologies, and we incorporate the wine thing, and it's like, bang, now we got it. So then we're there, we got all these people, and I'm on there, I'm just like we're doing. I'm like, all right, y'all, tell me about, where is Rioja, Italy, France, Germany, Spain, multiple choice. And then the last couple questions, okay, what do you smell? What do you taste? What's the wine look like? And so this became this was like going to church for people, man. This was like, we did it every week, right?
Yeah, you're waiting on it.
And everybody, not only were they having fun, we're having some wine, we're learning a little. And that was the thing I embedded, because the questions would be like, tell me about, what is this cheese? I show them a picture. And it would be a Manchego cheese from Spain. I'd say, tell me about this museum. It's Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, Spanish, right? And they don't really, and then finally the wine is Spanish, right? And you don't even realize I'm trying to make these connections. I'm trying to make these associations for you. But all of that was stuff that I had learned, but it's all still, it's part of my brand. It's part of the wine thing. It's not like, I'm a barbecue guy. I didn't mean to disparage barbecue earlier. Don't get me wrong. I sort of fancied myself as a moonlight barbecue chef. But anyway, so that was the key. It was figure out what you do well. What is your brand? What is your value proposition? And for me, it was like a little bit of education, a little bit of fun, a little bit of community. It's not, we did some sales, we did some delivery, we did all those things too, like everyone was doing. But I didn't change I didn't reinvent the wheel, I didn't reinvent the business.
That's good. And just to say, I can't remember which show we were on. We was talking about how COVID and just other things had changed things when people were revising their whole process to that. And I was telling Speaks about the fact that in business, there's one part of the approach where they say you don't change. You change the market. You don't let the atmosphere of everything going on change the way you do things. You keep going, because then you become that singular thing that everyone is more attracted to, because everyone else has made adjustments and now they're all doing this, but you're still taking this approach, and it makes you stand out. But I was going to say too, we was talking about with the different cheeses and the different places as far as with the wine. For everyone, when we went, that was one of the things I liked, when you came over with the cheese and you told us what type of cheese it was. You told us the wines, where the wines were from, and then we did the tasting with the red and the white, and it's outlined on the list of wines that you gave us. So we knew. So as we were going through it, it was like, okay, we're in Spain now, so let's all take a sip of Spain. And then we was in Portugal, and it was like, let's take a sip
experience
of
culture.
And it creates this whole
the
type
vibe.
of
the vibe, right?
And now,
it's context, right? So if I go to a museum or a concert or something, like, tell me about the artist. What are they reacting to? What are the materials they're using? When do they live? Where do they live? And all of that helps me internalize and appreciate. And for me, that's what the wine thing is. Art, right? It's
different.
It's art and science, but it's all of that, right?
It is. And I've been to other wine places,
not art?
and they didn't do what you did.
I think it's the same.
Other wine places, they conversate, they talk, but the knowledge, the information you provide, and the way you provide it was easy to receive it. It didn't feel like, because I don't know wine, that it was over my head. It was very easy to consume. It's like, oh, okay.
And I was happy they was open to it.
Yeah, and
I remember you telling me that I wasn't sure how they were going to react.
But the way the cheese mixed in with the flavor of the wine was just like, and we're talking about.
I'm not a smart man, but that's the combo, right? Wine and cheese, little chocolate.
I wish I could remember the name of the cheese in the wine, because it was just like, it gave me a bite in the back.
And it makes sense, right? It's like putting cream in your coffee or in your tea or whatever, right?
The combination of the two.
There's some science going on there that actually makes it's like the sum of the parts part or the whole is greater than some of the parts or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
But just the fact that you knew coming here, okay, these are the cheeses, these are the wines you about to do. So here are the cheeses and it was just perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, and we were even saying, taste this cheese with it.
Yeah.
It was and it's like, it's a whole different, because we first would taste the wine without the cheese. Yeah. And then we tasted it with the cheese.
And that's when he came over, because we were tasting the wine. Right. And then all of a sudden you appeared like,
and you was like, no, here. And it was like, okay. And then we tasted the cheese, and it was the taste, the flavor. It's almost the cheese pulls the flavor out of the wine. And it's a completely different type of response that you have, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah, I don't often have wine without food.
Okay.
I don't really know that wine is a cocktail drink.
Right.
I'll have a glass of champagne, but even then I still would like to have something salty and crunchy, to go with it. But
I'm gonna have to agree just from the visuals I see.
Yeah,
that is.
Give me a little food, give me some conversation, a meal,
Because I've had some great wine with a steak. And it just blended together.
Yes.
So it's like you eat the steak, take a sip of the wine, and it just did something to my mouth.
Yeah.
Well, it did.
Kurt.
Man, yeah. Food and wine pairings are so fascinating. The best food and wine pairing, one of the best. It's hard to say the best. Like we were talking about, it's hard to say the best song or the best wine or whatever.
It's one of the best.
But man, I was in Italy once with my wife, and it was our honeymoon, and we're at this winery, and we meet up with these Australians, and they're all wine writers and winemakers, all women. And we're at the winery with the winemaker, the two winemakers and the owners of the winery, Elena and Luca.
Okay.
And
they invited us. Remember their names?
Yeah, they invited us to come to lunch. And this place is old, y'all. It's like you go to California, and it's like, the winery seems like they tell you stories, history, and it's like from the 70s. And you're like,
right.
Okay. That's like, nah, man, this is like from the 1100, 1400s.
History.
I love that.
Yeah. Like they got bottles down in the cellar.
Right.
Like it has mold growing on. No kidding. And it's not unsanitary, but like they're proud of it. And you touch it and it like depresses a little bit and it comes back up. Wow. It's wild. So anyway, so we're there. And in this area, if you're familiar with white truffles, it's like the crown jewel of the culinary scene in Italy. They're mushrooms, right? They grow under the ground. They take dogs out to find them. They sniff around. You can take pigs too, but the pigs will eat them, and it's hard to call them off. So the dogs will listen to you. So they let you know where they are, and they dig them up, and you get in there too, and they shave them because it's a really, really powerful. I mean, it's like people will wax poetic about truffles, but I don't want to get too carried away. But
you make me. I'm gonna have to look it up.
But look, the thing is, keep it simple. Like you would not put this over like bolognese or a busy dish of food. Okay. It's like over some toast with butter or some fried eggs, and that's the way I had it with some fried eggs. I met this dude, and he told me, he's like, "Nah, man, just And so we go to lunch with these people, and they tell me, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have the huevos con tortuga bianco, right? Eggs with white truffle.
Okay.
And we got the winemaker's there. And it's like, it was like, man, this is how old is like just some wine. Like, I've been drinking wine for really, like, I'm sorry, I can't even remember like what, how many years to actually, but thousands of years, right?
Yeah.
Like mushrooms, eggs, these are things that like humans have been like from the beginning of civilization, right? And I started crying, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the fuck happened,
the whole
but
experience.
I just started, I had to get up and go to the bathroom and like get out of there for a minute. And so we're in Italy, and I'm in this restaurant, and it's old, and it's one of these bathrooms where like there's individual stalls, but like everybody uses the same, and in the sink is like men and women. Yeah, you go your own little area, it's private, but and I come out, and one of the Australian ladies in there, she's like, "Come on, mate!" She slapped me around. She's like, "Get back, give me a hug, get back in here. You can do it."
I love it.
She probably heard me in there sniffling, crying, trying to get myself together. But yeah, man, that shit is powerful sometimes. When it's like in the moment with context, like you're saying, when you have that,
just aligns right then. See, that's beautiful.
And I'm loving that you're leading into the tours that you do, right?
Well, I'm skipping ahead, right?
I'm skipping all the way ahead because I know I'm going. You should definitely come.
Hey, we're all going. It's in
next year, 2023. He does
key recruiters.
Tours. Yeah,
we talked about, because you told me and Les about taking us to do tours, because we never done them.
Yeah. But we're going to Italy to do.
I'm doing work with, and my wife comes in and she says, "What are you doing?" This is before I go to the bar, and she said, "Well, people come to me and they say, hey, we want to go to California. What should we do? Where should we stay?" I was like, "That's all, guys. Customers, I got it, and I'd call, make all the stuff, all the appointments, because they give me some special treatment, right? So I say my guests are coming, and that's how it works, right? Now, every time they go, they're going to buy that wine forever if they have a good experience, right? If those wineries are smart, it's like, and it's so cool when they are. And when you get out there, man, it's like, and when you go anywhere, it's like, they see New York, Seattle, Chicago, everywhere, man. But when it's us from the South, they're like, get over here, And I give them some twang. I'll feed right into that shit, man. I'm like, what is,
what's going on here?
I'll shoot,
let
me try, give me a little more, Oh, yeah, they love it. They love it. It's a whole new market, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm doing this stuff, and Lauren comes up, she says, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm setting up these, she said,
this is your wife again?
Yeah. I bet you people.
What percentage she have?
I told you. She said, I bet you people pay you. I bet you people pay you for this.
Yes, because she is consulting the hell out of you.
So then I was like, okay, honey. She's like, so she comes back. She says, you know what? I bet you if you like put together a tour and you wanted to lead the tour, I bet people would want to do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit. And she was right again. So now we've sent some people on honeymoon, some things when they're going out, arrange some things, families. And now I'm leading these things. We go and do the wineries, the restaurants, the hotels. We go to the French Laundry, which is Thomas Keller's spot. It was #1 restaurant in America for a really long time. I don't know if it still is. So then we're on honeymoon in Italy, and she's like, you know what? Damn, she was right. So now we go to Italy. It's a 9-day tour. Yeah. We arrange everything, and we don't go to areas where like they don't really encounter a lot of English speakers, right? So, it's an adventure. You don't need me to go to like Florence or Rome. I love those cities, but you can do that. It's international. In these areas, like it's more German, more Austria. You see some Spanish, maybe, but French. But otherwise, we go to restaurants. I don't give you the menu because you can't read it. It's not in English. And so we always have the food from the area, the wine from the area, whatever's in season, and whatever they're proud of. Yes. Yeah. And that's the way they do it. Like that's the way they live. That's why they live. And they look great, everybody there is eating ham and smoking and drinking all the time. They walk in and they all look great,
The
so
Barbell Speak Show. We're gonna be
But that's the deal. Look, we're going on the road. But that's the thing is like it's making those connections. Like the food is wonderful, the scenery, the wine, but it's always the people. Right. The wines or the places I visit. So we go to a Barolo producer in northwestern Italy. We go truffle hunting in the forest. We go to
the forest.
We go to Trieste, right on the Croatian border. It's way more coffee culture. We've just come from medieval walled city. Now we're on the coast. More cafe culture.
Yeah.
Then we head down to Verona, Shakespeare's favorite. Marble sidewalks. Very posh. This is the new, Michelin restaurants everywhere.
So you taking them through like a timeline.
Yeah, but we're only going to, a couple, a couple hundred miles between. But Italy fits within California very easily. It's a small country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Italy's so fascinating. It's only been a country since, I think, like 1861.
I didn't even know. Okay.
Yeah. It's only been unified. Yeah. Think about that. Yeah. So when you go to Italy, it's 20 like no one identifies as Italian.
Younger than we are.
Yes.
Exactly. Everyone's Sardinian or Venetian or Sicilian or
Yeah, it's a melting pot
and
like
so
America.
they got their own olive oil, their own dialect, their own cheese, of course their own wine.
Exactly.
And so that's what I'm trying to hit. And so we circle back around to Verona, Romeo and Juliet. We do an Amarone producer, we do Prosecco on Lake Garda.
Within the 10 days, you get all that done.
Yeah, and I arrange everything. You just show up at the Milan airport. I'm there waving my flag, my North Carolina flag. Get everybody on their private transport the whole time.
That is nice.
Yeah. So COVID kind of shut that down. So the other component of my thing, was this place that's 2 doors down, Lewis and Elm. It's sort of my, I'm a Gemini. I was telling you guys, I got to have it both ways. So Rioja's dark and cozy.
I'm with you.
Lewis and Elm, it's like bright and shiny. It's downtown. It's right in the entertainment district, right on the corner.
But it fits, like you said, the area it's in.
It's true to the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's part of knowing your market that you're in and understanding the as far as the I can't get the word out. Geology and understanding where your place is set and what the customers and the type of people you're going to get on the area. So it makes perfect sense. And I'm thinking about it from a business standpoint, and I wonder just how many people are really listening and paying attention to the fact, because it's obvious that you did the research to have that understanding to say, okay, in this part of town, this is the approach as far as
it was the up and
lighting
coming
and all
area.
that.
You know, it was undervalued down here on the south end. This is, I mean, you look out here now, man. Like
It's bumping.
a couple
now.
years ago, you wouldn't come down here even during the day for much.
Yeah.
But now this is the spot. You know, you come out here in the
And
evening.
you get all the traffic because everyone we see it when after the shows and sometimes before the shows, depending on what time we start. It's just constant traffic. Everyone's going up and down to be.
It's a cross section of humanity too, man. It's everybody. You know,
Everybody.
Yeah. It's cool. There's a French place. There's a Korean place. Pizza, beer, liquor, bowling alley, wine bar, art shops, tattoo shop, the whole thing. Yeah,
it's
cool.
Yeah, it's definitely came from a long way, like you said.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I want to get more into. You said Lewis and M.
Yes, ma'am. So
when did that happen?
The second,
like 2 months before COVID.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. So I've been stalking this neighborhood for a long time. I knew it was coming. That chef buddy I referenced earlier, you know, he was always nosing around down here. He told me this was going to be the spot. He's passed away now, man, but he was a big influence on me creatively and I think professionally.
Okay.
But yeah, I knew this was the area and that spot. You know, for those of you from Greensboro that are listening, you know, it was the original location of the Undercurrent we talked about. Paisley Pineapple before that. It was Table 16. And I looked at it once Table 16 was no longer there. And my business partner and I, Jeff, we took a look at it and we passed. And then hemp store went in there for about a minute and a half.
Yes,
and I was like, man, I'm not passing again because I knew this neighborhood was going to pop.
Yeah.
And it has. And then this was like December of 2019. And then
right before
at this point, I got my other place, Rioja's going strong. The travel thing is starting to pick up, starting to understand how this works, and it's coming into focus.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is perfect.
And I got this other thing. I'm like, what can stop me now? And then, well, boom, boom. Everything shuts down. So, but it gave us an opportunity to take a step back and engage with technology. You know, look around to see what the other people, the leaders in the industries were doing.
I like that.
You know, and just take a breath. You know, it was painful, but that's the way we use our time. So then, you know, I'm trying this other place here. I'm Lewis and Elm ultimately is what we called it, but I'm trying to come up with the name for the place and the identity. And I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew I wanted it to be, you know, not a restaurant, not a bar, something in between, kind of like Rioja, but just the next level. You know, keep going. But you know, it's bigger. It's downtown. We're gonna get more foot traffic. It's gonna have a lot of advantages. So. You know, we're trying to understand, you know, how to create our identity, and I want to call it the proletariat at first. You know, fortunately they talked me off the cliff. You know, with that the proletariat. That's sort of like the, you know, the working man's bar. You know, then it was like downtown. It's the one, but it's that high low thing. It's that bring it to the people thing. You know, but
that's I was just gonna say that's one of my favorite words because what's the dude, the Black Panther. Used to use that word all the time. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm digressing. But yeah,
but that's
one of my favorite.
You know,
words.
Yeah, me too.
Because it represents the working man,
the people.
Know,
that's
those
right.
in the people,
bring it to the
community,
people.
And people use that word a lot when they want to be seen with the people.
That's right.
And that's the word they use.
That's right. So then, you know, I'm thinking of maybe a wine pun. Do you know what in wine? Do you know what a thief is? So at the winery, when you go there, this is a religious experience, but when they allow you to taste the wine straight from the barrel before it's been put into the bottle and everything. So you go to the winery. Sometimes they'll let you do this if you go down to the cellar, and they take the device that they put. It's like a long, thin glass tube, and you extend that into you remove the bung from the bung hole. You put that in there, and you extract, you know, a few milliliters, and you put it into a glass.
That's called a thief.
And that's called a thief, that thing. So, right. So then, if you've ever been to a champagne producer or a sparkling wine producer, you know, the thing about making wine is some of the techniques they do are totally different for making red wine, for making white wine, for making sparkling wine, port style wine. You know, these all require a little bit of different wiggle. So with sparkling wine, you rarely see, you know, places that do everything. Because of the stuff involved, the investment's just not worth. Yeah. So when you make a sparkling wine, short story, you know, there's like 2 or 3 parts involved that aren't involved in making with still wine. Anyway, there's a secondary process where you have a little bit of wine, you introduce a dosage, which is a little bit more yeast, a little bit more sugar.
Okay.
And that's the reaction between the two is what ultimately causes fermentation, which creates alcohol and CO2, which is bubbles.
Right.
So you get a little bit of wine, whatever. And the crazy thing about champagne is like the wine sucked for so long until they figured this out. Everyone in France made fun of them until they figured this out. And now they're the darlings of the world, right? And if I can only drink one wine every single day, of course champagne would be my choice.
Really?
Oh yeah, come on. If I could do it.
Well, I did have your champagne on Wednesday.
We're gonna go next door and drink some champagne here in just a couple minutes. Or we're gonna drink a few things and we'll see what if you're not into it though, don't the best wine is whatever you like. But I always encourage people continue to try things, continue to experiment.
Yeah.
And I know you like fairly dry, bold reds.
Yes.
So those guys,
that's why I probably don't get with the champagne.
Well,
because of that.
I like the bold taste, and it's like it's so bubbly and like.
Yeah, it's a good way to start.
Is it supposed to be a soda?
That's a good point. That's a good point. And sometimes it's refreshing. It's a good way to start, maybe just a little splash or like a half a glass, maybe, and then move on. After a long day or something. But and it also depends on if we're outside, maybe. And it's hot and we got something crunchy like some calamari or something. All right, So that works better.
The food
it's like context thing.
Yeah.
I'm
I got off the road, y'all. Drove off the road. Where were we? What were we talking about?
I did that.
We was talking about the thief.
Thank you. God, you're right on the money. So,
all
right. So the other right on the money. He's right on the money.
I'm surprised what we were drinking. So
we're talking about
water here, guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
So we're talking about the name of this place. So then, okay, the sparkling wine. The reason I was talking about that. If you go there,
you drink.
when the process of removing that additional dosage that I mentioned,
right?
That stuff is left in the bottle, and there's a process where you slowly, the wine bottles themselves are on an A-frame, if you can imagine, and
that's purposely done.
Yep, and there's an angle, and the wines as they move up. The body, a human moves individual bottles, turns them, and rotates them, and moves them up. So the A-frame like this, and the bottles go in like this, and so they get more vertical as they move up that A-frame. And there's a lot of them. The person whose job that is, they're called the Riddler. Right? It's one person. He's the Riddler.
I love the
thief. The thief, the Riddler. Right? Come on, this is the trail I was on. Ultimately, everyone vetoed, or we didn't veto, but we decided that maybe that's not the best way. So then my next idea. So I'm at Rioja one. Actually, I can't take credit. So I'm at Rioja after a tasting one evening, and one of my customers is there. Her name's Susan, and she's waiting for her Uber, and this is December 2019, whatever. Yeah. And she says, I told her I got this thing. I'm very hyped up. You know how I am, man. I'm bouncing around telling everybody. And she says, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm going to do this second thing. I'm going to, it's my Jekyll and Hyde. I'm going downtown, and I'm going to open another place. And she says, so where is it? What's the deal? What are you going to call it? I told her my ideas. Proletariat, Riddler, thief and the Riddler. Nope. And she was very straightforward. Nope. And so she says, where is it exactly? Yeah. And she's from Greensboro. She knows the lay of the land, I said, well, it's at the corner of Lewis and Elm. And she looked at me like,
that's it.
And walked out the door. And I called my Jeff. I was like, dude, I think we got it.
Hit you. I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. And we sent a little survey, and everybody voted for Lewis and Elm. Yeah. I figured, well, I mean, practical. Everybody said, where is it? Lewis and Elm. Right here. So that's, that's what we called it. So it took a while to get it going, but it's, it's beautiful. I hope everyone digs it. We used, Area Modern Furniture, Mark up here on the corner, Gina and Laura at Vivid Interiors helped us, with the design and all the other stuff. It was the people over here at the Forge, helped us with our sign. It was a total neighborhood thing. Yeah, everybody all around. Like you could throw a football to all the people from here.
Yeah,
they helped us get this done.
Yeah.
And man, when we were up under the building, like my contractor was fantastic. He definitely recommend Pete. He did lots of Peter Zook. And oh man, I shouldn't tell this story, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. So he's up under the building, and
he's up under.
Yeah. Okay. And it's an old building. This is a building 100 years old, right? So he's taking pictures and he found some shit, and he sends it. He copies me and like everybody else, right? Bones. Fucking bones.
You have bones.
Bones. I'm like, Pete, no.
Bones.
Pete, throw them away. Throw them in the trash. What the hell are you doing? So now we got police, special investigators, everybody crawling up under the building. I'm lucky it wasn't on the news. And
my goodness.
All right, so they go to the lab, horse bones, turns out. Right, 75-year-old horse. It used to be a mare mule trading post right here at the railroad track. So they march them down Lewis Street, I guess. And nobody been under the building for 80 years or something. So, thank goodness we dodged a bullet there. But it was it was like bobbing and weaving and bobbing and weaving. It's so cool to quit your job right now. Yeah, that was a trick. We managed to we have a really strong team.
Love it.
But it's been great to see the neighborhood kind of grow and come back and to be part of what's going on in downtown Greensboro. And we're putting it together. We learn every day. But now I think that we have, sort of our two sort of pillars. I'm gonna complete the tunnel that I've dug underground so I can get, from one to the other. And I can be in two places at once.
God.
That's gonna be the key. That's the secret. Is
But what's next for you? I mean, you have your hands full, it seems like, but I feel like you still have more.
Well,
And what is next?
So I don't know.
Can you talk about what's next?
Well, no. I'm into it. If you guys keep, you play my song, I'm going to dance.
Okay.
So if you look at your phone, everybody's got your books right on your iPhone. It keeps in my phone. I got some stuff you've heard of. Some stuff, as my library loads here, some stuff maybe you haven't heard of.
Okay.
But in my library, I got this book called Murder in the Gate City.
Murder in the Gate City.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's a part of a trilogy that I have written.
My phone is off, so Murder in the Gate City.
Well, no, I don't know if you guys can access it yet. Okay. It's not quite live. But it's part of a trilogy that I've written. So like,
I'm thinking I'm about to go to Amazon.
Well,
and get
almost.
So you're writing a trilogy.
I have. So
that's
it's,
right. You did tell
it's murder
me
mystery, murder mystery series. So when I was a kid, man, I can remember being at the daycare, and they'd tell you to take a nap or whatever. But the one that was watching us would be watching Perry Mason in black and white on the TV, and I wouldn't go. I would watch every single time, every single time.
Completely intrigued.
Y'all know who Angela Lansbury is? Jessica Fletcher. That was her character on A Murder She Wrote, right? That was that was my jam when I was a kid, man. So
and you taking me back.
Look, when I would ride home from work, I've been doing this for like 15 years now, right? So when I would ride home, at some point I started doing this, and I would tell myself little stories about the most interesting social interactions and cultural observations that I made during the evening, right? Like whatever the two most interesting people or couple or whatever, like whether it was like a married couple or two friends or people that I, like you guys, that's like, oh man, these dudes are now into wine and Tiffany set it up, or whatever it is, man. Like you can tell two people when they're supposed to be there and they're sneaking around and they're going to sit in the back. And the dude always wants a view of the front door. I can see it, man. I'm like a public or a private investigator. Anyway, so I would tell myself these little stories. I'd make notes and things. And so finally I started putting it together. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought it was interesting. I thought I'd make this little story. But then finally I realized. So
it wasn't intentional at first. It was just.
Not really. I was just messing around. But then I realized, like, wait a minute, this is what I like is these like murder mystery thing.
Yeah.
That was it, right? And so that's what I've done is written these murder mysteries that are focused and based in the South, with a wine and food sort of angle. Yeah. So it's always, it's ambiguous cities, but it's like Savannah or Charleston or New Orleans or Durham or Greensboro or whatever. But you're always, my witnesses and my key people that give us information are bussers or dishwashers or waiters or cooks or bartenders or whoever, right? I think I did a pretty good job. It's
I love
it's loosely based on of course the first I'm gonna have to change the name, change some of the characters. Well, I called it Murder in the Gate City. That makes it kind of too on the nose with Greensboro,
and you're trying to complete it. But this is a suggestion. I'll throw this out there.
Yeah, I love it. Please.
I have a mentor, Nathan Freeman, which he's been on the show, and he's a great writer.
He was actually our mentor for the show,
right? And so he sent us a link to podcast that's booming now. The podcast that they're looking for now, and this day and age are scripted podcasts.
Yeah.
So I listened to a lot of them, and it was like murder mysteries.
Storytelling is so much fun.
It was like storytelling.
It's almost like taking it back to when all you had was the radio.
Yes,
right.
Yes, I love that.
The imagination can just go anywhere as you're listening to the words and the choice of words and the way. The tone that they use as they're speaking.
Yeah, and I love how one of the podcasts that I was listening to, they even had the sound effects and everything.
Yeah. Is that the same one?
Yeah. So I mean, it didn't cost nothing to do. It's just like you could download the Anchor app, and then you get your followers and your listeners. And
I mean, it's a little off topic. I'm so curious as I look at the equipment you guys are using and stuff.
Looking at him.
How much? Well, I know Kurt's the man over here. He's the wizard, but like. We've got these mics and like what all like there's a lot of equipment in this room.
Yeah.
But what all is actually, being used now for for what we're doing other than
turn your mic up, Kurt. Yes.
Here we go.
I got excited.
So 2 cameras there, 1 camera here, and the mics you're talking into, they're going into this board, into the camera, into the computer.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
So you would need to purchase BNC cords if you want to do it. The little switcher board over there.
If you want to do just audio podcast, I got a little Rode thing out there after this show. I'll show it to you. I mean, it's $300 or $400 on a mic, and you could sit there all day long and do whatever you want.
And that's all you would need.
Or you just come here and he'll help you
I was
out.
going to say, this is a little more sophisticated. That's
just come here. You could do just audio. You don't have to do video. And you could just, I mean, even look for people to do voiceover acting. I can do that for you if you would like.
Self-plug.
yes, to read what your stories, do different characters. I mean, you'll definitely be directing it since it came from your mind, but that's exactly how you do it. And then you just push it out there through the apps that is at our fingertips to upload it. Yeah. And they'll come to you because they want to listen to storytelling. Just a little... great women around you. We're gonna get you.
I'm telling you what, that's the best advice I could give. Surround yourself with smart women.
I think that is good that you are in different areas and businesses, because sometimes you don't need to be in a box. You do the restaurant, but then you have so much more to Jake. Right? Yeah. So now you're stepping out on something that you was doing when you was a child because it was influenced to you when you're a child.
Yeah, that's sort of circle of
and it makes life exciting and fun.
And I encourage everybody to write just some little stories. It's incredible what happens. You don't like it's gonna sound cliche and people will say this, but if you outline it a little bit, there's great technology I use called Scrivener. It's kind of like Word, but it's made for writers.
Okay.
There's some details that I can't go too far into the weeds about because it's out of my weight class. But even if you're just writing on Word documents and things, outline what you're doing. Identify your the things they told you in school. Your setting, your period of time. What's the problem? What's the conflict? Right. The conflict is the key. What is everyone reacting to?
So that foundation.
Yeah. But then start writing, and it is crazy the shit that your characters will start to do. And
on their own, right?
You have it'll blow your mind. And it's all coming from your brain.
Weird.
It's awesome.
It's
so much
weird
fun.
Because it's like I always say, the character always evolves itself. Like,
yes.
So you're being led.
Yes. Almost creepy. It's like a whole spiritual thing. It's just like, oh, she wouldn't do that. She would say this. And then sometimes you're laying in the bed at night and you're like, it's a whole dialogue of this character that you created.
And then you gotta get up and write it out.
You gotta get up and you write it
By
down.
the way, put a pencil and pad by your bed.
Yeah, I got
if you don't have it already. Because some of the best stuff, like it'll be in a dream, and you'll forget. You'll think, oh, I'm gonna do it the next morning, and it's gone.
It's gone.
You won't remember.
Back when I used to write a lot, I used to do the same thing. And I know you talk about that, but I know we both write. And I know when I was writing all the time, I always had a pen and anything around me, a napkin, it didn't matter. As my thoughts would come, I would do it right there. And then I started carrying a recorder. Yeah. And I would speak into the recorder with my thoughts, because sometimes I'll be driving. So
that's what I started.
And I would just speak into it. And those things, and then you go back and listen to it, and you're like, wow, all these different thoughts. And then you expand on it. But I did want to say too, I love the fact, and I think this is a big thing for people to not just hear you speak about, but get an understanding of the fact that you took the pandemic as an opportunity. And I always say to people is identifying opportunity, because it might not always be what you were looking for.
Yeah. Chaos is a ladder.
Exactly. But there's opportunity in it. And it's if you embrace that type of opportunity, because it wasn't a part of your the process that you were looking to do as far as the path that you were going down. And when it happened, you're like, oh, you embraced it and you used that to your benefit.
And every single thing that I learned and I'm doing, I will continue to do, it wasn't like a patchwork thing that's like, oh, we'll do this for now.
But
and then
open. See, I think that's one of the things I like about you and your, the caliber of your character, from what I picked up as we've talked more and more, is your open mind to things, because to me, those are the most successful individuals are those who are open to other, because it doesn't always have to be yours. And you said it, you talked about, and I wanted to say the fact that you could recall your customer name, Susan. You were like, well, my cousin was Susan when she said this about giving you the name. That alone just shows how you are connected to it all. And you're paying attention. It's not just in when you're not there. It's not a blow by or anything. It's like you're so invested, which is, to me, is amazing.
Well, part of, thank you guys so much. This is a revelation for me, because some of the things that, it's that being nice thing. Part of it, is, it's an affirmation that part of that works and that's a good idea. And that, but also, I mean, I was definitely panicking during COVID. I don't want to make it seem like it was like, all right, well, I'll just engage technology. It was, I'm still a little nervous, even right now, like we're going to go down there in a minute and it's going to be, I'm like, all right, is everything okay?
But like he always tell me, if you're not nervous, then it's maybe
I'm worried about you if you're not.
You should be nervous.
Like I always tell people, so in my job, I'm a project manager, and people always say, oh, you always seem like you're so calm and relaxed. And I said, I have anxiety. I'm nervous every time I do a presentation, no matter how well I know the information, no matter how many presentations I do. I'm always nervous. I'm always starting to get a little anxiety. But I tell them, I said, that's a good thing. Allow that. Don't push that away or try to overcome that, because that keeps you at a level to where you stand on your toes and you're aware.
Your senses a little.
It's the same way how fighters talk about don't get rid of the fear when you're about to fight. When they go into the ring, they use that fear. Like once you get rid of the fear, then you start to lose. Even when Tyson talked about when he fought Buster Douglas, he was so cocky and confident. I don't need to train for this person. Like he was to that point, and then he loses.
Yeah, I remember that.
Is that when he bit his ear?
No, he got knocked out. I remember that.
But it was his first loss. His first loss was to Buster Douglas, and when he lost the belt, nobody saw that coming. Because Tyson was on the level of, he was unstoppable. But he admitted, he was like, I didn't really train. I didn't see him as a threat, where before
he let his guard down.
Tyson talked about his earlier fights. He said, I was always scared. He was like, I was scared walking into the ring. And then again but it kept him as dominant because he held on to that. And as soon as he let it go, with anything, I think you see it in everything. As soon as you get too confident in something, you start to overlook things and you make mistakes, and then it's like a domino effect.
But before we got to get ready to wrap it up.
I hear you.
But I do want him to sign the table on camera. I'm gonna go get the.
I was wondering what's going on here.
Oh yeah. We always would like to guess the sign. We started it, so you'll be the second one. Yeah, we just started it.
That was a great idea, Kurt.
By Kurt. Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, sign the table.
Exactly.
Yes.
There we go.
Jake. Thank you.
Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I can't thank you enough.
It's been amazing.
For what you're doing to encourage and support entrepreneurs in our community.
Our thing is celebrating. When Men Speaks was talking about the show, it was one of the things our mentor, Nathan, that she was mentioning to you, one of the first things he said to us is, what do you want the show to be about? Because everyone has a podcast. So like, but what is you looking for out of your podcast? And is that enough for you once you figure that out? And our thing was highlighting are celebrities in the community, because you are a celebrity in the community. You're the one that's here, that's doing things, as we call on the ground level, that's impacting everyone here.
Right.
And we want to bring attention to that and give you a platform to speak to it so everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
But after we left your place, we actually went to a hemp store to get some stuff, and we were talking about you. And the first thing we were saying, like, man, he was really cool, really liked the vibe. And we were like, let's see if he would want to come on the show and talk to him. Yeah. Just from the energy you gave us in that short period of time, just those couple of hours. It was like, let's see if he would want to do the show. And when you said yes, we was like, okay.
Yeah, when I came back with my sister, and we was just, the vibe was going. And then he started sharing his story.
Yeah.
When he started,
she's texting me while she's there.
Yeah. I was like, oh, his story is great.
Let's go. I said, we already talked about it. And now you're saying he seems like it would be good. I'm like, let's do it. Like, let him know and get his information. I'm gonna send out.
And I'm like literally sending him the email address. And I'm like, is this day would be good for you? And it was great. It was so fun that night. Yeah. So we thank you for coming on Broad Belt Speaks. Much. And before we let you go, we always do an I am segment. Yeah. And what that is just describe what you are in this moment, right? And it could be a sentence, it could be one word, it doesn't matter, but you say, I am, like for me, I am excited. I am excited for you and your endeavors that you're going on. And I am so happy that I met you. You have kind of motivated me a little bit today to just get back and writing a little bit, because it is therapy and it helps you tap into different parts of you, because life can be kind of get boring when you're just doing the whole routine, and writing makes you use your imagination and go other places. And so I'm gonna have to start doing more of that. So thank you. But yes, I am excited. So I went first. You want to go and let the guests go last? Okay. And
I would say I am I like excited, because I think that does touch on what we have going on here. But also I would say I am looking forward to the next step.
Okay.
Regardless, outside of just me, but the people we bring on the show, their next step. So we always follow everybody that we bring on the show, and seeing as they continue to evolve and take steps into the path they're going down. So I'm looking forward to that. And again, just within myself, looking forward to my next steps.
Okay. We're going to get Kurt to go, and then we'll get you to go.
I thought I could hold out till the end.
We're going to get you.
We got to get you now.
I usually give some smart alecky answer, but
he does.
But which is always I really enjoyed meeting Jake. I had no idea it was from Rioja. I'd been there before. But I will say, in a sincere way, I am grateful to be able to be part of this. And again, this is my creative outlet now. Music, I haven't been able to do it for a while, and so hearing these conversations and being here, and being the desk monkey for a little while is always good. So that's where I'll leave it.
Yes. Okay, definitely. Jake.
I feel absolutely inspired and motivated. This is the first time I've had an experience like this.
Oh, wow.
And, it's that thing where, to be sort of recognized, and for people just to sort of see what you're doing and to kind of give you the thumbs up, it means so much, I think, to me and to everybody that owns a small business. For my family, I can't thank you guys enough for the opportunity.
Yes. Thank you as well. Yes.
Yeah, it's absolutely my pleasure. Anything I could do, to encourage you guys, please let me know. We talked about, some cross, pollination ideas. And I feel like I'm at a sort of moment in my life. I'm gonna go get a tattoo here next week.
Okay. I'm gonna get first one.
Yeah, I'm gonna get an Osso. It's a very rudimentary wine tool. Okay. But that's kind of the point. You've probably seen the one that goes like this, and they got all the ones that are. I just do the one like that most of the time, except usually at home. And for me, it's this little wine tool. It's got two prongs, so it goes in on each side of the cork. It's usually for older wines because you want to be careful removing the cork. But anyway,
that's the tattoo you get.
Yeah, because it's like simple. The first. I kind of feel like I'm gonna get one, but it's just like, what is what are you doing? You know, it's got to mean something, right?
Right.
And I feel like I've sort of come to this place where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is it's appropriate or something.
I would agree, just from what I've learned about you. So, do you know where you want it, or is that still...
Yeah, I'm gonna get it right here, I think.
Okay.
And then I think I'm gonna get an anchovy too, but that's
okay.
To me, pizza and
I'm gonna get wild, man. Yeah, right.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, let us know what tattoo artist you go to.
Cool.
You know, because I'm due for another one.
Oh,
as well.
all right.
Yeah.
Maybe we can go together.
One too.
Yeah. Just to feel a little bit of pain, you know.
Yeah, that's it,
Why
man.
not?
You know, makes
Actually,
you know you're alive, right?
I'll chime
go.
in one more time. I've been talking about doing a tattoo party for years now.
I like that.
And so if we could get a good artist, that's the thing is I don't know the artists in the area.
Right.
We're down
I
up
don't-
north.
yeah.
But if we can find a good artist, we could do it here.
I would like that. And we
That
could
would be-
do that. That's a whole show
Can we
too.
and talk? Okay, well, I don't
Get a
know if I should
tattoo.
be on the show getting a tattoo because I do the singing thing. I have to listen
You
to.
sing while you get a tattoo.
Yeah. I have to listen to like
Why you whisper it?
because it's not good singing and it's
But
like
we could do it in like tattoos in that room,
And
but then
then
have
have-
the show
And
running.
then, have
Okay.
the, yeah, and then bring the
Yeah.
tattoo artist in and talk about. We could
Yeah.
talk about the tattoos we just did and talk
Yeah.
about how they became. I like that.
So we
Yeah.
find out whoever you go to and see if they'll be.
I think these guys on Elm
open.
Street up here.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the name of the place here on Elm Street?
Shit.
Oh my God!
That
I think
was-
that's the
I'm sorry,
first
guys.
place I got my
No,
tattoo.
'cause I'm
We can put it in the notes.
Up
We
here
put
to
it
the
in
left.
notes
It's on the
down below.
left hand side.
Yeah. It's like on 200
That was
block.
the first place I went to get my tattoo when I was
they're cool.
18.
They're
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
Well, it was a different artist there
Yeah, but
then,
that
but
same
it's the
spot's
same
been here
spot.
all the time.
Mhm.
Wow.
You gotta keep it local, man. Keep it,
Mhm.
keep,
I got
keep
it,
it downtown.
My
yeah.
tattoo artist was in Jamestown the first time I got it done, and then he ended up moving after so many years. And I've had different artists throughout
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
years, but they've all been here in Greensboro. So
Yeah, we'll have to
Yeah.
put that together. Yeah, I
Cool.
like that idea. I think that would be pretty
I think
dope.
so too. Yeah.
Even if we could have like 3 different ones and then we kind of rotate them in, like when they're not doing the tattoo, you come on the couch and you
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
talk.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Look at
Yeah.
you.
That's
Okay.
that woman thing, you know what I'm saying?
I know, it's a small brain.
You got
I
my
know.
vote. Yeah.
That's why he's here. It's this brain right here. You know what I'm saying? But no, I
Yeah.
appreciate you coming
Very
again.
much enjoyed it.
And
Thank
My
you.
pleasure, y'all.
till next time, we're gonna head to his spot, Lewis and
Yes,
M,
that's where we
Let's do
going.
it.
and we're gonna get a little bit of
Yeah, man.
champagne,
Celebrate
a
the
little bit
weekend.
There
of
you
liquor,
go.
and yeah.
Some of everything.
So till next time,
Yes.
thank you for joining
Thank
Broadbell
you.
Speaks.
Thank you.
Pete.
Peace.
Thank you so much,
Yes,
Jake.
Jake, that was
That was a
good.
good show.
I think it's pretty good.